Ethan Ray had never considered himself brave. Not in the traditional sense. He was a scientist, a man of logic and experiments, someone who preferred data over danger. Yet here he was, standing on the observation deck of Outpost Sigma 9, the farthest human settlement at the edge of explored space, staring at a strange flicker of energy moving through the void. The readings were unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Waves of energy pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat, yet too precise, too deliberate to be natural. His superiors had insisted he investigate immediately. A human mind is more flexible than any algorithm, they had said. Ethan had thought it was just corporate flattery, but now, as the alien signals danced across his monitors, he wasn't so sure. He adjusted his glasses, squinting at the holographic display. "It's moving toward the station," he murmured. His pulse quickened. That shouldn't happen. Nothing should move like this. Not in this part of space. And yet the energy signature approached with a deliberate purpose. A sudden tremor shook the station. The lights flickered and went out. Ethan's heart thumped in panic, but he forced himself to stay calm. Protocol required him to report, but before he could grab the comms, a blinding flash enveloped the observation deck. Then silence. Ethan opened his eyes to find himself no longer on the station. The walls around him were alive with soft luminescence, colors shifting like liquid metal. Strange symbols pulsed across the walls, reacting to his movements. And before him stood a figure tall and imposing, her presence commanding the very air. She was unlike anything he had imagined. Her skin shimmered like polished onyx, and her eyes glowed with a soft gold light that seemed to pierce into his very thoughts. A crown-like structure of bioluminescent crystal adorned her head, radiating authority. She wore a robe that seemed woven from pure starlight, moving like water as she walked toward him. "I am Xylaria," she said. Her voice was melodic, but every word carried weight as if it could reshape reality itself. "You are human." Ethan swallowed. Yes. "I'm Ethan Ray. How did I get here?" Xylaria tilted her head, observing him as a scientist might examine a rare specimen. "You did not arrive here by your choice. But perhaps that is fortunate." He tried to step back, only to find his legs unresponsive. A subtle energy field held him in place, not harming him, but restraining him. Panic surged, but Ethan forced his mind to focus. Humans survived in situations like this not by strength, but by ingenuity. "You are experimenting on me," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. Xylaria smiled faintly. "Not an experiment." "Not exactly, a test. Your species has long fascinated us, but we have never encountered one with your qualities." "Qualities?" Ethan asked, brow furrowed. "Like what?" "I'm just a scientist. You are creative, adaptive, ethical, resourceful. Qualities your species demonstrates in rare moments, yet moments that change everything." She paused, letting the words sink in. "Tonight you will help me understand leadership, decision-making, and potential. You will be my subject." Ethan's stomach tightened. Subject? He had imagined this scenario countless times, being kidnapped by aliens, maybe escaping, maybe being studied, but never in such vivid reality. I don't know if I can." "You will," Xylaria said softly, almost kindly. "Because your mind is what I seek, not your strength. You will not be harmed if you cooperate. In fact, you may find this enlightening." Ethan's thoughts raced. He wanted to protest, but somewhere deep down, curiosity began to awaken. This was an opportunity no human had ever had. To understand an alien species, to see their politics, their technology, their way of life, and perhaps, to survive. Before he could ask more, the chamber walls shifted, stretching upward like a living cathedral. Floors seemed to move beneath his feet, guiding him forward without steps. Ethan stumbled but regained balance, realizing the entire space was an organic, intelligent architecture, responding to Xylaria's will. As they moved, Xylaria spoke. "You may wonder why I chose a human. Your species is young, fragile in some ways, yet you possess unpredictability, creativity, and courage, traits my people admire yet rarely understand. You may teach us something valuable." Ethan nodded slowly. I hope I don't disappoint." "You will not disappoint," she said, almost like a promise. "But you must understand this is not mere entertainment. Decisions you make, reactions you show may influence far more than your own fate tonight." The chamber opened into a vast hall, glowing with ethereal light. Thousands of alien beings moved gracefully, their forms unlike anything human imagination could fully grasp. Tall, slender, shimmering, with wings or limbs that bent in ways that defied physics. Their eyes turned toward Ethan, curious and wary. Whispers rippled through the crowd, though no sound reached his ears. Somehow he felt the attention. Xylaria walked ahead and he followed, trying to keep calm. Every instinct screamed danger, but he also felt something unexpected, fascination. Humans were explorers by nature, and despite fear, Ethan felt the thrill of discovery. "You will face challenges," Xylaria said, "tasks that require judgment, reasoning, and compassion. You may fail, yet even failure will teach us. And teach you." "What kind of tasks?" Ethan asked cautiously. "Tasks designed to test the essence of leadership," Xylaria replied. "To see if a human mind can navigate the complexities of an empire beyond your imagining." Ethan's stomach churned. Leadership, empire? He was a scientist, not a general. He didn't command armies or manage politics. Yet something within him stirred an unexpected confidence. Humans were not naturally aggressive rulers, but they were adaptive, inventive, and determined. Maybe that would be enough. Suddenly the hall shifted again. A platform rose before him, glowing with soft light. On it lay intricate devices, alien technology that seemed both ancient and impossibly advanced. Small holographic figures flickered above the platform, representing alien worlds, civilizations, and armies. "Your first test," Xylaria said, gesturing. "Organize these worlds. Resolve conflicts. Ensure balance. Do it in a way that would earn my trust," Ethan blinked. "That seems impossible. I don't even know your systems. You know the principles of cause and effect, decision and consequence. That is enough for a human mind. Trust yourself." He stepped forward, hesitant but determined. The holographic figures responded to his gestures, and he found himself moving them, experimenting with alliances, observing outcomes, and adjusting strategies. Mistakes came quickly. One wrong alliance and two civilizations went to war. But he adapted, learning from each failure. Slowly, a pattern emerged. Xylaria watched silently, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "Interesting," she murmured. "You do not seek to dominate. You seek balance. Humans are not like us. You value life and fairness even when power tempts otherwise." Ethan swallowed hard, realizing she was judging more than his intellect. She was judging his morality, his instincts, his humanity. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt strange in the alien hall. Ethan worked tirelessly, exhausted but exhilarated. Every small success reinforced what Xylaria had said. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but capable of profound insight and ethical leadership. Finally, the hologram stabilized. Worlds were aligned, conflicts resolved, balance restored. Ethan collapsed onto a soft surface, panting, staring at the alien queen. "You have done well," Xylaria said. "More than I expected, perhaps. You are more than a mere experiment." Ethan felt a strange warmth, a mix of relief and awe. "Thank you." "I think," Xylaria tilted her head, studying him closely. "Human, tonight you have proven what my people suspected but never understood. That your species, though young and fragile, possesses qualities that can influence the fates of many. That the ingenuity, courage, and morality combined are a force to be reckoned with." Ethan laughed softly, exhausted but proud. "So I'm not dead, that's good news," she smiled faintly. "You are alive, and you are remarkable. But this is only the beginning, Ethan Ray. Tomorrow, the real challenges begin." Ethan's heart pounded. The night had been terrifying, exhilarating, and surreal. He had been taken by an alien queen, treated as a test subject, and yet he had survived, thrived even. Somehow he felt the faint stirrings of destiny. For the first time he wondered not just if he would survive, but if he could change everything. Not just for himself, but for humans, for the galaxy, and perhaps for the queen who had taken him in as her experiment. And somewhere deep in his mind a quiet thought whispered, "Maybe humans are meant for more than they think." Ethan awoke in a chamber bathed in soft, shifting light. The walls pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat, and the air hummed with subtle energy. He sat up slowly, rubbing his eyes. For a moment he wondered if last night had been a dream. But no, he still wore the faint marks of his fall on the platform, and the soft glow of the alien architecture confirmed that he was very much somewhere beyond human comprehension. A melodic chime echoed through the chamber. The floor beneath him moved, guiding him toward a massive doorway that opened with a hiss of liquid-like metal. Standing there was Xylaria, her golden eyes calm but intense. "Good morning, Ethan," she said. Her voice carried an authority that made the air itself feel heavier. Rest was necessary. "Today the experiment continues," Ethan swallowed. "Experiment or test? I'm still not sure which." "Both," Xylaria replied simply. "Tonight you will face challenges that go beyond strategy. You will face dilemmas of leadership, morality, and adaptability. Every decision will be observed, every reaction noted." He nodded, trying to steady his breathing. He had survived last night by instinct and intelligence, but this felt bigger, real, dangerous. The chamber walls shifted again, opening onto a vast arena. Ethan stepped out and froze. Before him lay what could only be described as a miniature city, holographic yet tangible. Towers of alien crystal shimmered in the light. Streets wound intricately, and thousands of tiny figures moved, some arguing, others performing tasks. "This is your first trial," Xylaria explained. "The city represents a faction of my empire. Conflict brews among its leaders, and their decisions threaten the balance of their people. You must intervene, or allow nature to take its course. Both choices carry consequences." Ethan's stomach sank. He had solved puzzles, yes, but managing entire civilizations? He wasn't a ruler. He wasn't trained in diplomacy or command. He was just human, a scientist, and yet he realized something. Humans had survived for millennia not by power or size, but by thinking, adapting, and seeing patterns where others saw chaos. Taking a deep breath, he stepped closer. The city responded instantly to his presence. Holographic leaders paused, looking at him expectantly. The first decision appeared. 2 neighboring districts were on the brink of war over resources. Ethan frowned. "If I intervene too harshly, I'll make enemies. Too lightly, and the war will destroy them both." He studied the patterns of movement, the small indicators of tension, and made his choice. He would create a temporary agreement, offering aid to both districts while proposing shared governance. The holograms reacted immediately. Leaders nodded, troops stood down, and tension eased, temporarily. But Ethan noticed another pattern. One district's leader was quietly plotting against the other, a subtle scheme that could unravel everything. He adapted again, using strategy, observation, and a hint of human intuition. He implemented safeguards, monitored alliances, and adjusted quickly as the situation evolved. Hours, or what felt like hours, passed in this mental simulation. Mistakes came, yes, but each time he corrected them, learning faster than the system could anticipate. Xylaria observed silently from a balcony of light above the arena. "Remarkable," she murmured. "He does not dominate. He nurtures. He anticipates. Humans are curious creatures." Ethan noticed that the holographic citizens seemed to respond emotionally to his choices. Fear, hope, loyalty, they were subtle but tangible. It amazed him. These aliens had created a simulation that felt alive. And yet, he realized, the same principles that guided humans, empathy, foresight, courage, were working here as well. Hours turned into what felt like a full cycle of the alien sun. Ethan's mind raced, body fatigued, but he pressed on. Each scenario became more complex. Trade disputes, natural disasters, uprisings, mysterious diseases. Each required him to think critically, act decisively, and maintain ethical judgment. He had no rules, no guidebook, only his instincts, observation, and reasoning. Finally, the arena stilled. The city hummed with stability, leaders bowed, and citizens moved freely once more. Ethan collapsed onto the soft, glowing floor, his mind buzzing with exhaustion and exhilaration. Xylaria descended from her balcony, her presence calm and powerful. "You have done more than I expected, Ethan Ray," she said. "Your species is capable of creativity, ethical reasoning, and adaptability that exceeds what my people thought possible." Ethan gave a weak laugh. "So, I passed?" "You did more than pass," she replied. "You inspired. Even in a simulation, your actions altered the course of thousands of lives. That is not merely intelligence, it is leadership." He swallowed, realizing the weight of her words. Humans were young, fragile, but their capacity for moral choice and innovation, perhaps that was something even advanced civilizations could respect. Xylaria's eyes softened slightly. "There is more to your test, however. Leadership is not only about strategy. It is about understanding the consequences of your choices, the responsibility you carry, and the courage to act when others hesitate. Ethan nodded slowly. I think I understand. Perhaps, she said, but understanding is different from doing. Your next trial is not a simulation. Before he could respond, the chamber shifted again. The walls melted into the open void of space, revealing a distant planet below. Its surface was alive with glowing flora and strange creatures that defied conventional physics. Tiny figures, alien settlers, moved across the terrain, facing environmental hazards, natural predators, and scarce resources. This is real, Xylaria said, her voice echoing in the open expanse. You will guide them without intervening directly. You must plan, advise, and influence outcomes using your knowledge, observation, and human reasoning. The lives of these beings depend on your decisions. Ethan's heart pounded. This was no longer a simulation. Mistakes here could have consequences, but the same thought that had guided him through the holographic city returned. Humans survive through ingenuity. Creativity and courage could turn even impossible situations into triumph. He approached a console, its interface intuitive but clearly alien. Data streamed before him. Terrain maps, population statistics, predator patterns, resource distribution. He studied it carefully. A predator attack was imminent on a settlement. Ethan analyzed patterns, flight paths, feeding habits, and timing. He devised a strategy, not by commanding troops but by advising the settlers. They moved, adapted, and defended themselves. Lives were saved without him directly interfering. Then came disease, a rapidly spreading infection among a cluster of alien settlers. Ethan applied his human logic, drawing on knowledge of biology and basic chemistry. He suggested isolation protocols, simple remedies from local plants, and preventative measures. The disease slowed, then stopped. Hours passed in this alien wilderness. Ethan made decisions, observed outcomes, and corrected errors. Each success reinforced his confidence. Each failure taught him resilience. Slowly, he began to see the patterns Xylaria had hinted at. Humans thrived not because they were strongest, but because they adapted, learned, and persisted. Finally, Xylaria appeared beside him, her glowing presence calm and commanding. You see, Ethan Ray, leadership is not about control. It is about understanding, guiding, and inspiring. Your species demonstrates qualities my people seldom appreciate: empathy, ingenuity, and courage in the face of uncertainty. Ethan, breathing heavily, managed a tired smile. I guess humans aren't completely useless after all. Xylaria's eyes gleamed. Indeed, but there is one more lesson tonight. Leadership carries responsibility. Every choice, every action has consequences that ripple far beyond your perception. That is why we watch. That is why we test. That is why I chose you. Ethan looked at her, suddenly aware of the enormity of the situation. He had survived simulations, real challenges, and alien scrutiny. Yet the trials were far from over. Somehow he had impressed Xylaria, but at what cost? What else awaited him? The chamber shifted once more, preparing for the next stage of the experiment. Ethan steadied himself, feeling the weight of human ingenuity, courage, and morality in his chest. He realized something profound. Being human was not a limitation. It was an advantage, a spark that could illuminate even the most alien darkness. Xylaria's voice echoed as the chamber transformed again. Rest now, human. Tomorrow your trials will test not only your mind but your character. You will see the depths of alien politics, strategy, and the burdens of rulership. And through it all, we will see if humanity is worthy of more than survival. Ethan closed his eyes, exhausted but determined. For the first time since he had been taken, he felt a strange sense of purpose. He was no longer just a scientist or a test subject. He was a human, a species young, fragile, and underestimated. And in that very fact, he might just hold the key to something greater than he had ever imagined. As he drifted into an uneasy sleep, the soft glow of Xylaria's palace bathed him in light. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, more tests. But for the first time, Ethan knew he had a chance to prove the power of human ingenuity, courage, and morality to an empire far older than Earth itself. End of Part 2.